Why do I break when pressure hits? If you're a driven man, you've probably experienced this. When things are calm, you're disciplined. You wake up early, you work hard, stay consistent, you show up as the man you want to be. But then pressure rises, work stress rises, responsibilities stack up, sleep drops, emotions, they get heavier, and suddenly that version of you who was disciplined 2 weeks ago just disappears. Your habits fall apart, your focus drops, your patience just disappears, and you start asking yourself the frustrating question: why do I break when pressure hits? Most men believe the answer is simple: I just lack discipline. But after working with driven men for years, I can tell you something very clearly. Discipline is not usually the problem. The real problem is instability under pressure. And today I want to explain why pressure breaks so many capable men and how to fix it. Driven men usually carry three things at the same time: ambition, responsibility, and internal standards. Ambition pushes you to build more. Responsibility forces you to carry more. And internal standards create constant pressure to perform. At first, this works. Ambition drives growth. Responsibility builds strength. Standards, they create progress. But over time, something begins to happen. Pressure, it increases faster than stability. Your workload grows. Your expectations grow. Your responsibilities grow. But your internal stability, it often stays the same. And when stability cannot match the pressure that you're carrying, something eventually breaks. Not because you're weak, but because your system is overloaded. Most advice online says the same thing: just be more disciplined. Wake up earlier. Push harder. Stay consistent. And discipline does work when life is calm. But pressure changes how your brain interprets effort. When stress increases, your nervous system turns into survival mode. Your brain becomes more reactive. Emotions increase. Fatigue feels heavier. And focus drops faster. And your system, it begins searching for relief. Which means the habits that felt manageable a few weeks ago, suddenly they feel exhausting. This is why so many driven men feel like two different people: the focused version of themselves when life is stable, and the overwhelmed version of themselves when pressure rises. But again, the problem is not discipline. The problem is stability. This is where the stability under pressure framework comes in. Most men try to build discipline without building stability first. But stability determines whether or not discipline holds when life gets difficult. Think of stability as the foundation under the behavior. When the foundation is strong, pressure, it doesn't change who you are. When the foundation is weak, pressure exposes every crack in the system. That is why two people can face the same pressure and respond completely differently. One stays calm and consistent. The other becomes reactive and overwhelmed. The difference, my friend, isn't willpower. The difference is stability. The stability under pressure framework is built on three sides: regulation, collaboration, and capacity. These three things determine whether discipline survives pressure or collapses when life gets heavy. Now, regulation is your ability to return to calm after stress. Every day, you experience normal emotional spikes: frustration, stress, fatigue, conflict, and even pressure itself. If your nervous system stays reactive too long, it begins to control your behavior. You become short-tempered. You lose patience. You make impulsive decisions. But when regulation improves, something powerful happens. You recover faster. You return to calm faster, which means pressure stops controlling your behavior. Collaboration means your expectations match the pressure your life is already carrying. Most driven men design goals for only when life is working perfectly. Perfect sleep, perfect schedule, perfect energy. But real life does not work that way. Unexpected problems appear. Stress increases, energy fluctuates. If your goals require perfect conditions, your system collapses the moment pressure appears. Collaboration means building systems that survive real life. Not perfect days, but real days. Capacity is the energy required to sustain effort. Your ability to show up consistently depends on your capacity, your sleep, your recovery, your emotional regulation, and your mental bandwidth. If capacity is low, everything just feels harder. Small problems feel bigger, effort feels heavier, consistency, it becomes fragile. But when capacity increases, discipline becomes much easier. Not because you're stronger, but because your system can carry more. So when this triangle is missing, something predictable happens. You start something new routine, new goal, new version of yourself. You feel motivated, and for the first few weeks, everything works. But then pressure begins to rise. Stress increases, fatigue increases, responsibility increases, emotional instability rises, and slowly your system begins to drift. Discipline breaks, habits break, focus drops, and then your system collapses. Eventually, you restart. Most driven men live inside this cycle for years. You start strong, then pressure increases, your emotional instability rises, your discipline weakens, the system collapses, and you restart again and again. The cycle is especially frustrating for driven men because we know we are capable of more. We've experienced moments where everything worked, moments where you felt focused, consistent, reliable, and you know that version of you exists, but you can't seem to hold it consistently. And most men, we start believing something about ourselves. We believe we lack discipline, or maybe that we're lazy. But most of the time, my friend, neither of these are true. The system wasn't designed for the level of pressure that you're carrying. And when stability improves, something interesting happens. Pressure stops controlling your behavior. You recover faster from stress. You stay consistent longer. Your habits survive those bad days. And slowly, something begins to stabilize. You stop restarting. Consistency becomes normal. The version of yourself that you're trying to become finally starts to stick. Not because you became more motivated, but because your internal system became stronger. So if you've ever asked yourself the question, why do I break when pressure hits? The answer is usually not discipline. The answer is instability under pressure. Once stability improves, discipline becomes sustainable. Pressure stops controlling your behavior, and the man you're trying to become finally begins to stabilize. My friend, if this resonated with you, I built a program called End the Restart Cycle, where I break down exactly how to identify instability and how to build a system that holds under pressure. And you can check that out in the description below. And if you're a driven man who wants to build consistency without burnout, make sure you subscribe to this channel, because each week, we're live on Tuesday and a new video comes out every Friday. And there I break down systems to help driven men build stability under pressure.